Ethiopian authorities say they have released about 2,000 people who were detained after a state of emergency was declared in the country earlier this month in response to months of violent anti-government protests. The opposition has been demanding that political prisoners be freed, even as anti-government protests continue to rage. Human Rights Watch says it has grave concerns that Ethiopia's state of emergency directive permits vague and overbroad restrictions that threaten basic rights to free expression, assembly, and association. It may also encourage violations of the rights to security of the person, including arbitrary detention and torture. Well, for more on the situation in Ethiopia, I'm joined by here in studio by Mohammed Ademo, journalist and founder of allpride.com. That's a multimedia website that reports on Oromo, Ethiopia, and Horn-related news. Welcome back to Africa 54, Mohammed.
Pleasure to be back.
So first, what's your reaction to the report that there have been at least 2,000 or more people released?
I'm not surprised. This is the tip of the iceberg. As we know that the Ethiopian government has arrested tens of thousands of people over the last 4 weeks, and even if we don't count people who have been arrested since the protests began. So this is just a small amount of people.
2,000 is just a small number,
a small number. And, we have reports that, as many as 1,000 people have been arrested from a single town.
Yeah.
And there are, hundreds of towns across the country where people have been rounded up in mass.
Yeah. Now, you see, the Human Rights Watch is saying it's very concerned about the extent to which this state of emergency is encroaching on people's rights. What are some of the things that you've heard lately that are really been happening during this state of emergency?
I mean, the entire country is militarized, and there are military forces roaming not just in towns, even in rural villages, and arresting people, beating people up. And we are hearing reports of people just disappearing. And people in parts of Oromia tell me that they have never seen arrest and disappearance on the scale that they are seeing right now. And, you leave your house at night in darkness, good luck coming back. And family members don't even know what happened to some of their members. And also what the government is doing now is creating a revolving door now. My family members who were arrested during the first round of protests have been rearrested, which means that every time there is more crackdown, they go arrest people who have been already in jail.
But in terms of the emergency, of course, the government says it has a right to place a state of emergency in a country, and there are some restrictions, reasonable restrictions. Is there a case whereby people perhaps are violating some of the rules of this state of emergency and therefore putting themselves in danger of being arrested?
I mean, as the Human Rights Watch report indicated, the rules are really sweeping, and they're very broad. Anything can be construed as violation of the state of emergency. So since there are no clear defined measures as to what constitutes a violation of a rule, anything is a violation at this point. So people are scared of, for example, you can't close your shop if you are a merchant, if you are sick, because it would be construed as if you are closing your shop as a sign of protest.
I mean, you have to keep your shop open to appear not to be protesting against the government.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. In terms of the time limit, it's just 6 months. Is the government and the opposition doing anything to make sure that after the 6 months period, things would go back to normal?
First of all, the 6 months is the maximum limit the Constitution allows. And the government obviously overreacted in
announcing the
entire 6 months.
Any explanation?
Is it necessary? I don't know. But as to what the government is doing, the parliament is controlled by one party. The opposition is systematically weakened. So the government is not necessarily talking to the opposition in a way that they want to resolve this. So what the government is hoping for is by arresting more people, putting them in these concentration camps. And if you follow on the reports, we are hearing that people are being held at college campuses. People are being held at, movie theaters. People are being held in military camps.
This sometimes may sound almost like an exaggeration. Some people will say, does the government have the capacity really to hold all these thousands of people all the time?
My guess is the fact that they're actually releasing some people suggests that they don't have a place to hold people.
Yeah.
Because they're arresting people like entire country, not just 1, 2, 3
And that's not
pounds.
hyperbole. I mean, you're not really.
I'm not
doing too much.
exaggerating.
Yeah. So some people have said the government says this is too much.
Too much, and they just don't know what to do, and they with all the people that they've arrested, and they are ostensibly giving constitution classes to some of the people arrested. The irony of it is that most of the people who are protesting right now are young people. These people grew up learning citizenship classes. They already know what the constitution provides, and they are asking for the constitution to be implemented.
We hope to continue the conversation and hope that we can also hear from the side of the government. Mohammed, thank you very much for your perspectives.